I don't know how clearly you could hear that, but that's Mortis Skuld, who I read was mostly overlooked, though they were one of the earlier awesome death metal bands, and that's definitely the case with me. I'd just seen that name kind of bouncing around way back when. It's one of those things I kind of wish I'd checked them out a long time ago. But apparently they're still making music and have a new album out, so that's really cool. Anyway, okay, well, this is really spontaneous. I refreshed the tape on this webcam. Maybe I can secure this a little better today. I noticed on the last video, for any of you out there who subjected yourselves to it, sorry everyone. I was getting some real lousy wobble going with this camera as the table shook. You know, as you know, I don't have the most professional rig, but if I can just refresh the tape that it's holding a little stronger. Okay, yeah, this is a page. Let's just share this with you real quick. This is really spontaneous. I just found myself, I've taken some days off a little, you know, I tried to draw. When I'm parenting, it gets really hard, you know, because I'll, you know, my daughter will be playing a game, and that'll give me a minute, you know, which is just enough time to fire up my tablet and draw 2 lines, and then I'm getting hollered at. Yeah, that's how it goes. But here I am. I got a little more time before I'm out of here. So this is what I managed to finish yesterday. Nothing terribly interesting. I mean, you know, I know probably what those of you who are watching this, you're excuse me, you're likely waiting for the blood and guts. Maybe we'll have enough time to get there. Now, obviously, as with any other of these videos, you are seeing pages become as they will appear in the released product. So you're going to have a little insight into what's happened. If you have intentions of purchasing this comic, you will have, I guess it's kind of cool because you'll have witnessed its creation, and that'll give it a little sense of nostalgia for you. But at the same time, these are surprises and revelations that will have already been spent. But whatever, this isn't a famous comic. And if nothing else, I mean, oh man, see, that was a mistake. I forgot this fella's supposed to have kind of tight curly hair, and I just started giving him shaggy hair. Let's try that again. There we go. That's more like it. Ba 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 ba. So, and for those of you that are familiar or perhaps read the first 5 issues as collected in the first volume, Revived Hive of Door to Death, which is available on Amazon, don't hesitate if you like what you see. This will be the reappearance of some familiar characters in their new, shall we say, gig, their new phase. And here, of course, is a character I have just introduced, and once again, this was inspired by some nice folks I saw at a family theme park who were treating it like it was some ridiculous show like MTV Spring Break or something like that, or one of those stupid shows. It seems to be the sole substance is shaking butt cheeks. Not to say like I'm so highbrow, but once again, when you're at if you're at a beach where there's a lot of partying, and it's just well known that a lot of youngsters are going crazy, college age people, you might expect to see butt cheeks wobbling around. Family theme parks, put your butt cheeks away. I mean, when you're like seriously dropping your pants, you're actually just making a mockery of yourself, and you're gross. So yeah, it's inspired by those folks I saw. I saw some nice people at Mickey D's yesterday. The guy was walking out, and I'm just gonna say the word. He goes, "Oh shit," and I'm like, you see me right here with my 4-year-old daughter. I'm just looking at the guy. I'm like, I said, come on now, like looking at the guy, and I do realize he's with 2 of his buddies. They're probably trying to act all hard and cool and awesome by cussing in a family. You go saying, "Oh shit," I'm sure that probably gives them some kind of momentary satisfaction. Might have intimidated some elderly folks. I'm sure that makes you feel real tough and everything. And but deep down you really suck at life when you act like that. Just trying to act tough in a family fast food restaurant. You got like Happy Meals and playground area. Come on, dude. Go be tough with other tough guys who like to act stupid. Maybe you can get into a big brawl, knock each other out. Oh shit! I'm like, you see the kids there, just say, "Oh my," or "Oh goodness," or at least "Oh shoot." See, I've almost accidentally let that slip probably more than a few times. And I'm good at correcting myself. Shit, ooh, shoot. Yes, shoot. I said, "Oh shoot." Yep. Be great if I could get that closer. Let's just expand. That's up to 31. This is a small panel. See how much time I got. I'm doing okay. I'd like to finish this panel and get to the next one. Let's see if we can speed this up. Okay, so yes, our characters are reprising their roles in their new embodiment, their new transformation. Yes, I see people out there in the world that really tick me off. Acting rude and nasty like that. When you're just trying to get your little girl a frizzin' Happy Meal with the Shopkins toy inside. You see some people want to act like idiots. And the worst thing is when they're not even like teenagers. And you stupid college girl, I'm not saying all college girls are stupid, but you stupid college girls, like the ones in that one time they were dropping the F word. I was just about to say something. Now these 3 guys yesterday, I said, like, if I get an attitude about this and they react, with violence like a lot of idiots do, like, "Oh, you said I can't do that with F you," and they just escalated instead of doing what any decent person say. "Oh my God, I got carried away. I said something I shouldn't have said in front of your daughter there. Please excuse me," and then everything's fine. I was looking at him. I said, if I really popped off to this guy, it might get ugly. But in this other case, they'd probably just, these college girls who obviously weren't going to beat the crap out of me, they would probably talk about how their dad's a lawyer and they're so cool and they have a lot of money, and continue to cuss because they know that I cannot beat them up. Still, it's like I heard him say the F word one time. I'm like, they clearly see I'm with my little girl, and that happens. They let it slip, and they maybe just are hoping that I did not hear them. They're probably feeling a little embarrassed about it. No problem. And then it happened again. I said, okay. And then by like the 3rd or 4th time, I lifted my head up and I was about to say something. It's almost like they just got that last one in there and realized they were running out of patience points. before somebody said something. They were just taking off, and I looked, you know. There was the other time, man, I was in the Chinese buffet, and it's like, you know, guys speaking in Mexican, and now this is a lot of you politically correct people say, oh, you're complaining about the Mexican. Like, no. I don't mind if you want to speak a foreign language. I mind when you're like looking at me and my family and sneering and laughing and speaking in a foreign language. I don't care what you want to say about cultural differences or whatever. That's just rude. I almost asked for a new seat, and I just kept saying, oh, they're probably going to be out of here soon, you know. And they were there a whole lot longer than I would have. Had I realized how long those jerks were going to stick around, I would have asked for a different seat. I exercised patience. Sometimes you exercise patience with people who don't deserve it. A lot of them are just, you know, they're cowards and weak people for sure. But you know, if they think they can get away with something, they'll milk it for all it's worth for whatever kind of momentary satisfaction they get out of that. And that's really pathetic, people. And once again, we try to forgive because I've been there. I think I had my limits though. As I say that, I know my friends out there will say, "Well, Lee, what about that one time?" Okay. That's also why we learn forgiveness, because we have to forgive the trespasses of others because we've all trespassed. And one thing I will grant myself is I've spent much time being penitent for my mistakes. Now, in case you're wondering, looks can be deceiving. So you might think you know what's going on here, just as this character does, but you're probably wrong, as we will discover if we have enough to. Man, yeah, okay, so let's. How much time? All right, we've gone on nearly 12 minutes doing this and me just running my mouth. Let's try to. I really want to get to this next one and make a little leeway on it for y'all's benefit, because this one coming up, this is where things get fun, and also where things are going to get a little spoiled if you want this to be a surprise. In which case, if you are really, I mean, if there's anybody out there who's really jonesing for the revelation to come of Door to Death issue 6 and find out what's going on here and what happened to those characters and what's happening in the woods, is it what it looks like? No, I will tell you that much. I'm a really big fan of Cronenberg. His horror slash sci-fi material is very clinical. It is very lacking in warmth, though I do get attached to a lot of his characters. But I love his complete, how shall I put it, his removal of all storytelling institutions from the box, in particular when it comes to creating his creatures, that outer reality he infuses into his stories, and where nightmares are really fusing. That's what I've really been drawn to, is where you just kind of let things go crazy. Just let the subconscious take over and build your monsters from there. And that's why I love Lovecraftian fiction so much. I mean, I love quote-unquote outer horror, which is a very appropriate name for what Lovecraft did. And of course, these days it's just such a fantastic formula. There are about 8 million Lovecraftian quote-unquote volumes, and I've been reading those for many years. And there's a lot of, I mean, just because the whole idea behind Lovecraftian fiction is outer fiction, typically with ancient deities and aliens and strange supernatural things. You know, it's got that touch of sci-fi, but it's still, I mean, it feels like horror. You know, it's what has It's the kind of thing that makes people fans of John Carpenter's The Thing. It's just you know, it's like when I was a kid, I was so mesmerized by these movie monsters, you know, and I still am in many ways. You know, a lot of things will hit the target with me. Um, but you know, I am not quite as if I'm looking at a horror movie and considering I read it's about like a vengeful ghost. Like I love Asian horror movies, but I'm I'm not quite as impressed when I see a vengeful ghost, which is very typical, and that's also a throwback to the heritage of you know, Asian folklore and horror. So I have the utmost respect for these kind of stories, but they're not as interesting to me as what's the one director? I think his name is Soto. God, what is his? I could look it up, but let's save that for later. He did a very gruesome film called Suicide Club. Um, he did hair extensions, very bizarre. He did Suicide Club was totally Cold Fish was totally bizarre. Um, and he does his nightmarish, hallucinogenic horror. It's very appealing to me. So I mean, if we're talking about Eastern horror that really draws me in, oh, here's my cat. Okay, that's great, Oreo. I love you, but please don't make this hard for me. Yeah. Okay, so I'm like petting my cat while I'm doing this. You drive me crazy. How are we doing on time? Guys, I might save the background for later. Oreo, please don't do this to me. I'm in a good mood. Don't ruin that for me. You know, this, if nothing else, videotaping these drawing sessions, it gives me cause to hurry up. You know, there's of course in my life, you know, with all the things I want to do and how little time I get to do my own personal things, that's enough cause to hurry up. Get down, buddy. Come on. I'll get you treats later, okay? This is not the time. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah, just when I realize how much when I want to share these experiences, but you're scratching the carpet now. Are you mad at me? I'm sorry. Look, I will. He always does this to me. He comes in and does, and I got to say, look, you got to get down, and then I got to feel bad about it. I swear. Okay, so do you see I just hit the halo? I don't know how clear this is, but it is bleeding inside this guy, so I got to close the line. I got to find out where it's getting in through, secure these lines. Now, you do have the option if you're you do have the option of adding a new layer if you want to keep a line open and do the filling, or if you're coloring. And then you remove that layer with the extra lines that you use to close the shapes. If you don't want that line there, I just reinforce the lines. I'm not so uptight about all that. Okay, let's fill in this little gap right here. Yeah, you know what? Just stick around. 11:04. Yeah, I'm really running out of time. Oreo, do not bother me. I'm actually. This is just not the time. I'd like to, let's see, I'm thinking of going to the library to drop some books. And it's such a long drive to this particular library we go to. I'm thinking to kind of make it worth the trip, I can drop by the Heritage Museum in Allentown. They've got some really cool stuff there. They're really nice people. We got annual passes, so yeah, but in order to do that, first I got to make sure their hours are available. So I'm trying to speed this up and get this done and actually get time. I don't know if that's going to happen. I've really burned out my time here. Been drives you crazy. All right. Well, yeah, that looks, you know what? That looks so awful. I'm not using that. See, if I get so desperate to get this done in a timely fashion and I start sacrificing too much of the quality, then I say this is, you know, it's like I say, I want to find this nice medium between keeping it fun, keeping it quick, but not at the expense of the level of quality I mean to get. Now, I will say with Door to Death, I'm very happy and pleased because I look at my old stuff. If you get, I mean, I would recommend you if you like this kind of stuff to get the volume. It's a great buy at $8 if you like what you see here from Amazon. 6 for Kindle. I'm very proud of it while also being kind of embarrassed as it always goes with our personal work. Um, but man, it's like I reference back to my art because it, as you know, I mean, I'm revisiting these locales and I got to double check what they look like. I got to see what the old characters were wearing. Like I had to see what these two were wearing at the end of the last comic. Issue 5, I was quite pleased with the art. Very pleased, actually. I really dove into that. I think I was just so much in the zone for that one. But man, you go back to when I reference issue 1 to get the first appearance of the restaurant that they're buying. I just, I wouldn't say I'm embarrassed, and even back then I knew. I said, Lee, this is for fun, but make it at least worth looking at. Yeah, it's just not that good. The illustrations, I say, wow, and even now, I think just because, I dropped comic art for a while, and by that time I hadn't done a horror comic for years, a few years by then, and it's just I kind of forget the best way to approach it, and not that I know the best way to approach it, but I just lose the feel for it, and I kind of stumble back onto it. For me, drawing comics is not exactly like riding a bike. I do get out of practice, and my best example of that is when I finally had art bullied out of my life. When I finally gave in to the people who were telling me, how stupid I was and what a waste of time it was, and I was abnormal for doing it, and I'm a piece of crap and all this stuff, And, I finally started listening to them and letting them screw my life up and destroy my dreams. And while also being separated from the voices who were saying, the positive things I needed to hear, which I think were those friends were gifts from God when they were taken from me. When it was annihilated and sat and stagnated, and I only picked up to draw something offensive or nasty or disgusting just to piss people off from time to time. The stagnation was so obvious, and when I had my epiphany at the age of 22, and I said, "Oh my God, it's like I should have stayed with it. I'd be published by now." They were lying to me. It is worth doing. It's not worth putting all of your eggs in that basket, but it's worth picking. If you love to do it, pick it up and do it, and don't do it just to tick people off. Put some meaning, some heart and soul into it. Yeah, but the bad news for me is I started trying to do. I didn't have the right tools. I didn't have the right know-how. I didn't have squat, and I stunk. It's like I was really just not ready, and I was so intimidated about how to get back into it, and I was leaping prematurely. I was not ready to fly, and man, I remember I was like I was submitting to publishers, and some of them I'll say like some of them actually took an interest in my material, but it wasn't good enough, and that's once again that is the lesson I learned, is that I let it stagnate because I was listening to those people, and in a sense they won. And I'm sure people who feel so insecure about themselves that they want to bring you down, say nasty stuff to you, say you're no good at this, you'll never do this. It's like they are very insecure, and those kind of people are weird because they, unlike me, who I mean I'm not saying I'm a saint, but I love to see success stories. Even if I'm a little jealous of your success story because you had like some advantage I did not have, I don't hate you for that. I don't want you to fail because of that. Even if you're better than me, I love seeing people win at whatever they do. But man, there are people out there who are just they just get such a thrill of seeing you fall. And if you listen to them and think they're steering you right by saying all this crap to you, they're not doing it in your best interest. They're weird people. They want you to fail. It doesn't matter what you hand them. They want you to screw up real bad. And y'all, I think I'm out of time. which is a shame. Okay, so take a gander at the pencils. I've got 6 minutes before I got to get out of here. That maybe we'll get time to do this again later. You can probably see the pencils. This would be fused flesh and tentacles and everything. So there's the ruining of the surprise. I really wanted to share this phase with you, and shame on me for not getting. Because what's going to happen is if I get time later, I'm going to have to make the decision between getting some work done when I'm not in a spot where I can share this with you. And now there might be some carnage to share later, but these are going to be this is the fourth to the last page I'm working on here. So I would really like to share some carnage images with you, fellow horror fans. So I mean, I kind of hope right now that I am not able to get this done until I have some time with the camera. But the weekend's about to start. It's hard to say if I'm going to be able to share this with you all, and I really want to. So I am very sorry. Yeah, but I totally got to go, and I should check if I have any chance of getting to the Heritage Museum, despite I'm very ill prepared. God, I'm not even. That's the problem with drawing. Okay, that is going to be a fun page to draw. All right, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for checking in. God bless you all. Keep doing what you do. Be careful out there. Some bad drivers if you drive. Don't let anybody, whether it's a teacher or a relative or a mean kid down the block who's always trying to put you down, do not let anybody say that that you should not keep pursuing what you're pursuing. And as I said the other day, and I'm not the first person who said it, but it stands true. If it's something worth doing in life, you are going to stumble a little bit on the way, but it'll be worth it when you get there. I seriously hope I can say this with you guys. Let's say goodbye face to face. Goodbye. Oh.
Door to Death, Volume 1, Revived Hive, collecting the first 5 issues of Door to Death in the single Charlotte comic. Oh man, it's so brutal, it's gonna make you puke blood all over the place. Totally blood puking, awesome, nasty. So savage, just kill yourself. It smells like crap, it's so awesome. It'll make your girlfriend spray love sauce all over the walls, and then you'll go crazy. Pick up a copy for your nephew, he'll think you're the coolest uncle ever. Kill me, even though no one ever calls you, you're still loved. Never give up hope.